Good morning, everyone. It's me again, Jay. Of course, you know that, most of you. January 20th, 2020. It's 5 weeks since Christine passed away. And here is my Monday check-in video talking about my current mood. My current mood is how I described it. I woke up in the middle of the night and started writing this, mostly in the dark, and because I woke up with this feeling, and so my current mood today is deep loneliness. Deep loneliness. I'm going to try to explain that today, as far as I understand it at this moment. So when I started writing this morning, I kind of gave deep loneliness a description that made sense to me. It was kind of a free-flowing thought, and hi, Kimberly. It, and all those who are watching right now, deep loneliness has teeth, sharp teeth, and it clamps down on you and doesn't let go. And my bed is one of the loneliest places that I experience. And let me try to explain that as I go along, because it's a place of probably where I feel alone the most, because I go to bed without Christine and I wake up without Christine, and it is devastating to my heart and to my mind, my emotions, everything about me. Just those two thoughts of going to bed alone and waking up alone is really devastating. So that's why I think deep loneliness has teeth, because it just kind of bites down, and it bites down hard, and it sinks its teeth into you and doesn't let go. Really difficult. Everywhere I go now, I go without her. Everywhere I am, she's just not there. And she won't be there on this side of heaven. So everywhere I am and everywhere I go, I am alone. I'm not with her. She's not with me. And this is why I think deep loneliness bites deep. Bites hard, and doesn't let go very easily. I had a thought along with this morning, and I had lots of thoughts, and I'm going to try to keep this on point. I know some of you might be thinking, or at least this has been suggested to me, and please, again, don't take offense by this. Please excuse my bluntness, and understand how I'm saying this. But please do not tell me that Christine is waiting for me. That is no comfort. It is absolutely no comfort to hear that. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm waiting for her. I'm waiting for her to walk through the front door. I'm waiting for her to appear in my bedroom. I'm waiting for her to walk alongside me on the beach. I am waiting for her to, as I this Wednesday, go down and experience the first birthday of my grandson. I am waiting for her to be there, and she's just not going to be there. She might be indeed waiting for me. I'm not I'm not denying the validity of that. But her waiting is without pain. Mine isn't. I don't know how long I'll have before I see Christine again in heaven, and that certainly is going to be a great day and all that, and I'm looking forward to that day, but it is absolutely no comfort to tell me that she's waiting for me. So I'm asking you, if you see me and that comes to your mind, don't say it, and don't write it. I mean, I love you and I'll forgive you, but just don't. I don't want to, I'm not trying to be hurtful here, but I'm trying to explain my grief, what I'm going through, and people are always asking me, what do you need? What do you need? Well, there's certain things I need not to be said to me. And that is one of them. Don't tell me Christine is waiting for me. I mean, I already know that she is, but it's just no comfort to know that she's waiting for me, because she's waiting for me without pain, without sorrow, without grief. She's free, and I'm happy for her. But I am waiting for her with great pain, because deep loneliness has clamped down on me. There are levels to this deep loneliness I don't think I've experienced yet in 5 weeks. I know that there are more deep levels of loneliness that I have yet to experience. And some of these levels I neatly package, and I put a bow on it, a Christian bow on it, and I post it on social media. And I social media it to death. And that's the level that I can kind of deal with publicly. And I have to tell you why this deep loneliness is so painful is because of the level of intimacy that Christine and I shared in our marriage. And so when I say intimacy, I don't mean just, the sexual connotation that implies at times. I'm talking about the intimacy that Christine did so wonderful. There was not a level of who I am as a man, as a person, that she did not know, that she was not well acquainted with. It was from the very start of our relationship together, before we even got married, the early discovery that we knew that we were supposed to get married invited a false sense of security into our relationship. That we don't have to worry about getting to know each other. Well, we fought that at the very beginning of our relationship. So we were brutally honest about the kind of people we were. And since I had a lot of baggage before we were even married, I laid all that, I opened up all that baggage, and I let her examine every article of stuff in my life, even though I knew that it might scare her away and scare her away from God's plan of marrying me. I just let it all out. And it was a series of conversations, but I remember the very first one that we did. It was at her dining room table, and her mom even was present at this point in this conversation. And I told them about all the abuse I went through, the after effects of that abuse, the season of time that I walked away from the Lord because of that abuse. Well, I don't want to blame it on the abuse. I chose to do that. But anyways, during that time of rebellion against God, and all the things that I did, including the attempted suicide and all those kind of things, I just laid it out for her, and it did not scare her, and it didn't keep her from marrying me. That was a level of intimacy that we shared, and she shared things too that she was this goody two shoes appearing Catholic girl when I first met Christine. And that's how she used to describe herself, goody two-shoes, because that's what everyone thought of her. But she had baggage too. And so we talked about these things even before we got married. So there was a level of intimacy, personal character, personality that we understood each other of each other before we even got married. Now, you had 27 years of discovering who each other is, and life changes. With kids come, with hardships come, like my wife's heart attack, the loss of 2 babies, the cancer, her parents dying, all the other things, all the other trauma that comes into your life, and the continuing to try to understand each other through the nuances of those changes produces an intimacy, produces a knowing that is beyond belief, and was so essential for our marriage to be as strong as it was. I am truly grateful for that level of intimacy, that level of knowing each other deeply, and there was a passionate desire to know each other even more as we were growing, because people don't stop. You shouldn't stop growing. So, and our marriage was growing. We were growing as individuals, and there was still this constant. Okay, what makes you tick? What is changing in your life? How do you see things? That level of intimacy is what I miss now. I will never be known by a human being like Christine knew me. Again, that's why current mood is deep loneliness this morning. There is such a mourning of that, of having someone know me so closely, and not just know me so closely, know me so intimately, know how I thought, my processing, but loving me still in the midst of all that. That is what I miss today. I miss that because I know no one will ever know me like that on this side of heaven. Okay. I know God knows. God knows me more intimately than Christine does. I don't need. I know this. Okay, I know this within the core of who I am. My identity wasn't wrapped up in Christine. My identity is hidden in Christ. Okay, putting all these Christian disclaimers out there so you're not freaking out if you are. Okay, I know God knows me better than any human being ever could. Okay, I know this, but I'm just talking about the human element here. And being married to this wonderful woman, Christine knew who I was. She knew my fears, my doubts, my absolutely distrust of myself. She knew this about me, and because there was a level of intimacy that no one else could share on this planet. And again, I'm not just talking about sexual things. I'm talking about that all-knowing of who I am. She understood me and prayed for me fervently because she did. And the things that she couldn't wrap her mind around, the things that she couldn't quite understand, she asked the Father for help to be able to do so. That is intimacy. That is intimacy that I miss so desperately. And that's why I feel like deep loneliness has sunk its teeth into me, and it's just not letting go. I have 7 wonderful kids, and the relationship that we have is life-giving, and it is potent, and it is helps me deal with some of this loneliness. And so but this is a level of loneliness that friendships, that family ships can't touch, because this is my spouse, this is my soulmate, this is the person I was one with, and now that person is gone. So this is a level of loneliness that no other relationship can really touch. And I love and appreciate my kids, and they are wonderful, and we are working through some stuff together, and we need to work through some more stuff together, and we're still in 5 weeks in, we're not processing all at the same speed, let me tell you. And I'm not sure I'm leading correctly in all areas that they need either, so you could pray for that. Excuse me. So, what do we do with this then? Well, I'm going to read you a couple scriptures that I read yesterday at church, and it's from Psalm 27, one of my favorite chapters in Psalms. And at the end of this chapter is one of Christine's favorite verses that she would quote pretty consistently throughout her life. And certainly it was there during the last few days of her life as well. She quoted the scripture. And so I'm going to read it to you if I can. I almost couldn't read it yesterday. I read the whole chapter yesterday, but chapter 27, verse 13. I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And then verse 14. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. Well, I got through that. It's pretty amazing. I couldn't get through that yesterday. So, deep loneliness is this powerful adversary. And it wants to rip the heart right from you. And 2 days ago, I go down to the river almost every day just to spend some time, and it's too cold to stand outside. And the last time I tried to record this outside, it was not good. So I thought I'd stay inside the car. A couple of days ago down here, I had a conversation with God, and I told God, I said, you know me, you know me very well, and if you don't help me, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to wall off my heart. I'm still going to serve you. I'm still going to believe who you are. That's not going to change, but I'm going to wall off my heart because this is just too painful. I can't take it. And I was beginning to do that, to be honest with you. I had a friend call me on Sunday and to pray for me. And while we were conversating, he said, I just felt impressed by God to pray for your heart. And so he did. And I told him about what this conversation I had with God. And so I read this, and it says, let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. So I am waiting for the Lord. On so many levels during this time. It is really difficult when you realize that no matter where I go from this point on, I will go to places alone. I might be with friends, I might be with even other members of my family, but I will go as a single man, and that is extremely difficult and harsh to me. Because again, I absolutely loved being married to Christine. It was the best thing ever to be married to that wonderful woman. So here's the thing. The deep loneliness, I don't think it's going to go away. And I don't really expect it to. Like I said earlier on, I expect to experience and discover multiple levels of this. Because of the intimacy factor that Christine and I shared, the closeness, the oneness, the covenant oneness that God did in the midst of 37 years of marriage and 39 years of knowing each other. Oh, man, you can't duplicate that. You can't replicate that. And you can't synthesize that. You can't concoct that. You can't work that up. That happens through life. That happens through two people saying that they are willing to go to the uncomfortable places in order to know each other better. I am going to miss that desperately. And I will of course trust God in the processing of this. I am and I will continue to seek His face so that I can. Again, it's not about understanding; it's about misunderstanding less. And there's so many things that I would like to share that I just can't yet. Yesterday, I came down to the river and I almost recorded what was happening yesterday down by the river, because all I did for a while was scream at the top of my lungs inside the car. I thought about doing it outside the car, but there were some people, crazy people like me, out there by the river, and I didn't want to scare them or have them call the cops on me. So I went to a more secluded place, and I just yelled and screamed at the top of my lungs in the car, and I almost recorded that so that maybe you can see something of the grief level that I'm at. But I thought that might be cruel and maybe a little bit too dramatic. I'd rather get myself all cried out, all worked out, so that I can talk to you like this, so I can somewhat make sense of what this is like. But when you lose your best friend, your companion, your spouse, your helpmeet, your lover, there's so many different levels of our intimacy. When that suddenly is removed, you know, I suffer vertigo sometimes. This is kind of like emotional, spiritual vertigo. I really am at a loss. If I didn't have a sense of what needs to be done, and I am working on those things. I'm not sure. I would probably be a lot more aimless at the moment. So, how do I think God is going to deal with this deep loneliness? I have no idea. I am somewhat comforted by the fact that, you know, one of Jesus's titles is Emmanuel, God with us, and I know He is. I know He promises never to leave us or forsake us, and I believe that to be true with all my heart, with the core of my being. I followed God and Jesus for over 50 years now, so that's not going to change. How I'm experiencing that is changing right now. Again, I think this is, as I'm thinking here, I'm thinking of that the level of intimacy that Christine and I shared, and was a direct correlation to the intimacy that we shared with God on an individual basis, as a son and daughter of God, and as a couple, a married couple in union with God, that Trinity in the marriage unity. That has changed as well. Excuse me, I mourn that loss as well. Being able to go to God as a couple. That's a loss of intimacy right there. Just hit me. That just hit me. So there it is. That's the current mood. Deep loneliness, a loss of this deep intimacy with Christine, and all the levels that affects. And it affects every level of who I am as a man, and how I move forward as a man, and as a godly man, and as so many things that just the echo chamber in my head is pretty expansive and pretty deafening. So I'm gonna wrap this up, because I think now I'm beginning to wander, and I don't want to do that in front of you. Because thank you guys who have come on and watched. I pray that these are helpful to you, but I'm really, again, this is my processing. This is what I'm going to do. If nobody watches, if nobody comments, I don't really need comments. And I'm hoping and praying that there's some kind of comfort or some kind of help in maybe processing some of your own grief, because I know I don't have the corner on grief. I know I don't. But I'm doing these things on Mondays, because Monday is the day that Christine passed. 5 weeks ago today at 3:35 will be again another hard moment for us. Pray for me, pray for my kids, and I pray, Father, pray to the Father for you guys as well. All right, thanks for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next Monday.